Welcome to the Cast Blast Grill Chill podcast with Jeremy and Trevor, the podcast that's all about hunting, fishing, grilling, and chilling out and having a good time in the outdoors. Alrighty, Trevor, and we're good to go.
Cool, man. Well, we are here today to bring y'all our hunting season wrap up. We thought it'd be a good idea to kind of lay it all out on the table. I'm sure, hopefully, y'all been listening to the ones from this season, and just kind of lay it all on the table and go through our most memorable hunts from each season. I think is how we're going to break it down and just kind of both of us hit on one hunt. It might be the same memory we're pulling from, and it might be totally different. So I hope y'all like it.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's actually real close to actually a year we went live on the Facebook page and dropped the first one on YouTube. I think we're right at a year. So
I think so.
I think it's an appropriate time to go ahead and do our season wrap-ups again.
Yeah, and that is the episode we started with, was the 2016-2017 season wrap-up about a year ago, almost to the date. So yeah, man, this is it feels good to be doing it for a year. We didn't host it on a bunch of like iTunes, Stitcher, the whole platform thing for quite a while. We were just running YouTube, but since we've seen a lot of numbers jump and a lot more listeners. So welcome everybody that's new. And if you are new or if you haven't done so already, please go, subscribe to the podcast and give us a review for sure. And that really helps our numbers out, helps other people find us, and it helps us grow and be able to bring y'all more content, because we want to keep bringing it to you. We really have fun doing this.
Exactly. And also, make sure you go like us on our Facebook page and follow us on Instagram. You can find us just about anything that's Cast Blast Grill Chill.
Yes, sir. So yeah, the season started out here in Texas. Our quote unquote official season opener is, right as your license expires, you buy a new one, and usually with that a case of lead to go sling at some fast little birds, man, some dove.
Yeah, go get them palomas.
Yeah, so we being self-taught, that's kind of what we started hunting, first. Was we just kind of, I know I bought a shotgun. My first thing I went and hunted was a duck, but after that we did a lot of dove hunting together.
Yeah, definitely. That's the first thing I got after was doves. That's kind of the one thing all my buddies did and had places to go, was dove hunting. So I think the second gun I ever bought was a 12 gauge shotgun. I think I bought a 12 gauge shotgun, and immediately behind that bought a 22. The first gun I ever bought was a 40 caliber pistol.
There you go. A true Texan right there.
A little bit.
Ladies and gentlemen. Yeah, man. So from this season, we didn't do a ton of dove hunting. We were more focused and kind of gearing up towards, everything else that was going to come on later in the season.
We also had a hurricane hit about 2 weeks before dove season, which just totally...
It blew them out, man. It totally moved them on down or back up or wherever they went.
They weren't around.
Yeah, I think maybe that was podcast 9 or 10. I don't remember off the top of my head, but that sounds about right.
Yeah.
And they kind of disappeared on us, but we got in a good opening weekend. I think we did a 3-day opening weekend was that Memorial Day?
Yeah, Memorial Day is always the first opening weekend because it always opens September 1st, and I took off. I think the way it fell this year was Thursday was the first, and I think I took a Thursday, Friday, Saturday, because I hunted Thursday when you did not. I think I did a 4-day and you did a 3-day.
Yeah, I don't remember, but I know we always got off that Monday. So, so we went out to where we usually go. We had some more grand plans to go and try out this other property in some evenings, but I don't remember our exact reasoning for not committing. Maybe it just wasn't.
There just weren't any birds around.
Yeah, and maybe we felt like, moving 30 minutes down the road, it wasn't really going to change anything, 30 minutes further down the road. So, we have a ton of dove opportunity around, where we hunt, central Texas, then headed more east towards College Station, out where you are. And, I feel like, the bird numbers were just down, but yeah, our hunt out there, my favorite hunt was sitting on that pond and actually doing a cast and blast, even though we just saw stuff hitting the top of the water. And I was like, man, I got a lightweight fishing pole in the truck. We're here at like, I don't know, it was like 2:30, 3 o'clock p.m. And we were like, man, we got a long, hot sit. And I was like, screw it. I know I got a couple of jig heads and a lightweight little panfish pole in the truck. And let me just toss a couple out. And so we just sat there and sat you and me and the dog and just kind of sat there, threw a fishing pole for a while. And I got a hit or two, and I got snagged on a couple of logs. But yeah, man, that was a fun shoot. But I don't think we shot many birds. But I love cast and blast.
Yeah, me
Hence the
too.
name of the podcast.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun little hunt. That was definitely, I think, probably the hottest day we hunted during that opening weekend. I think that was probably either Saturday or Sunday. We'd
It's a
gone out.
scorcher. I know that.
Yeah, we'd gone out that morning and hunted, and I don't even think we went out that morning. I think that was the day that we decided we weren't going to hunt the morning, and we just went out in the afternoon. But we decided to get there early to get a good spot, and we actually wound up being able to get on the tank there on
Yeah,
that spot,
yeah.
and we managed to throw a couple lines out while we waited, and
Hmm.
I can't remember if you caught any fish or not though.
I don't think so. I think, like I said, I think I had a couple of hits, and I know I got snagged on a couple of logs. I did get to try out the trick I had seen in a video. I think of some Bass Pro, where you take the line, you stretch it back, and you pop it and let like the shot go down it and try and unhang it, and
Yeah,
that didn't work at all for me. Maybe I'm not doing it right, but just saying, I haven't tried it again. Let's say that.
yeah, yeah. That was definitely a fun one. Actually, I think my favorite hunt was probably the least productive hunt. That was the day that you worked and the day that I took all day off,
Hmm.
and I went out there to that cut cornfield and bounced around 4 or 5 different pieces of public that morning, and then kind of settled on that cut cornfield in the afternoon. Was like, all right, this should be the spot.
Hmm.
And me, you, and your dad wound up hunting out there, and um, that crop duster was out there.
Oh man, I totally forgot about that.
Yeah,
Oh, that's a good one.
yeah,
Yeah.
that was probably the highlight. And then in the evening, us going all the way down to that creek bottom,
Hmm.
right there with an hour till legal, walking all the way down to that creek bottom, going down there, and after having a fairly slow hunt, I think we might have had maybe 5, 6, 7 birds between the lot of us, and going down there
Yeah.
and getting like 8 birds in like 10 minutes.
Yeah. And the whole time my dog was like not paying attention to us because he was hunting something up in those weeds, man. And we were telling him hunted up, hunted up. It sounded like a rabbit in there, but man, that it was like that. What do you call it? Like that razor grass or
Yeah, it
whatever.
was
Whatever.
Johnson grass
Yeah.
or something. It was
Yeah.
some kind
Like
of real,
Johnson
it was
grass.
some kind of
Yeah.
thick grass right there in the low spot, and whatever it
Yeah.
was, he was not letting it get out of that.
No, no, and it was pinned down, and but he couldn't quite get on where it was, and if it was rat, it probably had a hole in there and just tricking him, messing with him. But yeah, that's a good one, man. I got one more good memory from just that short weekend that we hunted. Um, well, a memory, maybe not the fondest or the best, but I think it was the first evening, the first day, no, the second day, because the crop duster was the first day. Second evening, we had walked way down to this patch of trees, way, 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 way too far for any decent dove hunter to go. I think that's just our kind of that's built in our blood or something,
Yeah,
man.
we
It's
like to
just
pound miles.
yeah, I don't know why. And it's like, 98 degrees, 100 degrees, and we're like, yeah, yeah, that third patch of trees, a mile and a half away seems like a great spot. As we pass the other two that are like right at the gate. That plenty of people kill birds on, granted. But yeah, and so we had each set up on an opposite side of this tree line because we couldn't pattern the flight direction that these birds were coming in. And my dog would not stay with me for anything. He was going to go and he's going to be there with you. And I like to think that it's because you had the view of the lake and I just had a view of the open field. And he just liked to gaze out at the water, being a chocolate lab and all, a duck dog. He was like, yeah, this is a much better view. Screw that other side.
Yeah, yeah, we had that was actually, I think, probably the best hunt we had. I think we wound up with I know we wound up with over a limit that
Yeah.
day.
Yeah, it was over a one man limit. I don't remember, man. I think it was probably just a touch over, maybe a limit and a half or so. I
Yeah, I
don't
want to
remember
say
exactly.
I don't think it was even that much. I think it was like somewhere between 18 and 22, 24 birds between the two of us.
Yeah,
Because I had a dozen birds when I pulled them all out of my vest and counted them.
yeah,
And I have your bird counts too in my hunting notebook, but I just don't have my hunting notebook here. As you can tell, I'm not recording in my normally spot. If you're watching on YouTube, I've got a house full of kids right now that aren't mine, so
yeah.
um,
He
I'm
didn't kidnap him, I promise.
not this time at least.
Not this time. Well, if you aren't watching on YouTube and you want a description of his background scenery, let me describe it to you. Okay, Jeremy is dead center on his mic, and to his back right is a picture of it looks to be a sparrow sitting in a cherry blossom tree,
Correct.
and the bird does not seem comfortable on this half dead cherry blossom tree. Seems to be almost falling off backwards, but maybe I'm just exaggerating. To his back left, now we have some Chinese scribble that I have no earthly idea what it's saying. I mean, it could be telling me to go screw myself, and I wouldn't know any different.
I have no
It
idea
look
what it says either. This whole my whole guest bedroom is done in an
feng
Asian.
shui.
It's a Asian theme,
Yeah,
with
it's just
with the exception of my noise deadening fishing blanket that I hung up over the window, which has a
no, noise dampening.
fly fishing rod, and
A
basket and
hat and a net
yeah,
and a bunch of what are those, pike and walleye or something?
all kinds of yeah, there's a pike, a walleye, some kind of a perch maybe. I don't know. It's a fish and throw.
Well, it's definitely not the iconic Texas flag cast blast background that we always appreciate.
No,
Uh,
and then over here above the bed to my left, there's a picture of some pines with some whooping cranes.
Welcome to MTV Cribs.
A little bit.
And so yeah, there's dove season in a shorthand. I mean, that was about it for us. I think I went on one more or two more, and it was sad, and the hurricane was approaching, and then I just kind of left it alone after
Well, no, the
that.
hurricane actually hit beforehand. The hurricane was in August
Oh man, I'm all
because
messed up
yeah,
then.
yeah, because we went hunting like literally the weekend after it had made landfall and all the flooding had stopped and everything like that. Because that's how come we were convinced there were so little people out on the public lands this year. Because like generally
That's right. That's right.
because
That's right.
generally it's a mad dash to get to your spot, get there hours early, and we didn't do that this year. Like we showed up for our Sunday hunt, which is generally all right, let's do this, and we're like, I don't think we have to. I think we can get there 30 minutes before legal, and we got exactly where we wanted to. When we walked
Yeah,
out to the field 30 minutes before legal, posted up, and then proceeded to walk another 6 miles that day.
I know for our limit and a half almost.
Yeah.
Well, that brings us to early teal. I did not hunt one day of early teal. Shame on me.
Well, you had a bunch of shit going on. You were in the process of your house being in pieces because your landlord didn't
Fast.
take care of your house very well and everything else you had
Landlord's in a
going.
landlord's in the overstatement, sir. I would say slumlord at best.
I have a question. Is the stove in your new house still red tagged?
No, 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 no. So yeah, it's a propane stove, and this dude comes in and tells me, like, hey, we're gonna run through all this safety stuff. If you smell gas, leave the house. And this thing was supposed to take an hour, right? And then he's like, okay, let me look. And he looks under the broiler up at the burner, and he's like, oh yeah, it's all there's way too much buildup here. See, I'm not getting any pressure. And I was like, the burner looks fine, dude. And so he's like, nope, condemned. Gives me a big old fat red tag on it, and then shuts the gas off, the propane off to it under one of the cabinets. I was like, okay, thanks. And then he leaves, and I just turned the valve back on. It works perfectly fine.
So your stove is still red tagged. You're just using it.
Well, there's not a red tag on it.
All right. Yeah. So anyway, early teal. Yeah, you didn't get to hunt because you started the new job literally right as that, and you got back from your trip from going to Hotlanta and um, Tennessee and all that mess because you poorly timed your vacation for right
Hey
smack
man,
dab in the middle of early teal,
yeah,
and
yeah.
then your new on call
Shame on
schedule
me. Shame on me.
and your house being in pieces. But yeah, I
Yeah.
managed to hunt early teal, and I probably had my best early teal season ever. I went down to the coast uh, with our buddy and proceeded to smack limits every day I went down there. Every time I went down there, I think I went down there 3 times. Um, but my
Listen to him just rub it in,
oh yeah,
guys. I mean,
definitely.
he's just like digging it in. I mean, oh,
Oh yeah, well that's just because I have to make sure you come next year because it was just so much fun. No, opening day of early teal has to be like the creme to the creme of the hunt. Like it was just so much fun. It was just me and my buddy. You couldn't make it because you had your stuff going on, and then my buddy's friend couldn't make it because he does metal building erecting, and they had like 20 18 wheelers worth of metal showing up and 2 big cranes, and so he had to be there. That's
man,
that.
sounds like horrible, horrible planning and timing on his part.
Well, that's kind of his job when you're the boss, and they and you're not the person who schedules such things.
Yeah, no, I'm
You
just
kind
playing.
of lose out, which was worked out for me. So um, that was the morning we woke up so incredibly early. We're 30, 45 minutes down the road, cruising. Everything's good. And the bar is still just a hopping. Still open. Still going. People
And
having
they
a.
stop in for some titties and drinks, guys.
Oh, we probably could have gone in there and cleaned up. I mean, we were about 30 minutes to last call. I mean, the pickings would have been easy, and that place was packed, and they were having a good time in there. But no, we had birds on our mind, so we clipped on by and rode the hour or so. You know, put the boat in, got to everything, and it was probably about 3:30, 4 o'clock, tops. By the time the decoys were out, the boat blind was set up, and everything was good to go. We made coffee. We talked. We took a nap. Um, and then still woke up like an hour before legal. And so it was great. And you know, most of the time, when you hunt early teal, you get birds in 30, 45 minutes before legal. And we didn't have
Yeah.
that. We didn't really have that happen. Like we had one or two birds come and land. I think it was a full moon or almost a full moon for the opener, and like we could see them come in and like they jumped up immediately and left and like never came back. And we were like, well, that's good, but it's not great. Generally, we would have like a whole bunch of birds hanging out, swimming around. But oh
Yeah.
well, it's not the end of the world. It seems okay. And then the sun started to come up and the sky started to orange, and we started seeing birds flying, backlit across, that first 5 minutes, 10 minutes before legal gets there. When you can actually,
They're just like black duck-shaped silhouettes,
oh
and
yeah,
you
just
don't. You're
just
like, yep, that's the
everywhere,
size. That's the size of a teal.
just
Yeah.
everything in the world, just like that marsh coming alive, birds jumping up from spot to spot to
Mm-hmm.
spot, and we're just like, oh, it's gonna be a good morning.
Yeah.
And um, the watch beeps, legal comes, the first group comes in. We're 99% certain they're teal, but I can't ID them. He can't ID them because they came in so fast, so low. We couldn't ever skylight them against the sky to get a
Yeah. You
to
just
get a
had you just had marsh water to backlight them. That's not
yeah
very helpful. At
yeah, and they
10 minutes after.
yeah, we couldn't get a wing beat or nothing off of them to see what it was, and we were like, we'll let them go. They could be marsh hens or something. They seem the right size to be teal. They
Yeah.
they get up and go, and we let them go. And then we have two or three groups come in, perfectly backlit. Not a doubt in our mind as a teal. We shoot. We go pick up our birds. Another group comes in. We shoot. Another group of five comes in, and we shoot, and we're done. Both limited out, just like that. I mean,
Sounds like a boring hunt.
oh
No, I'm
yeah,
just kidding.
yeah. It was terrible. I mean, I looked at my watch and it was 7 o'clock when we were out there picking up decoys, and we'd been done for a while. We'd already put the boat blind up and
Yeah.
everything. We were
Yeah.
pro- we
You,
were
you
probably
know,
done in
well,
30 minutes.
sometimes that could be a bad thing depending on like if you get one day a year to hunt. Let's say like you might want that to drag out till 9 o'clock before you hit your limit. But when you get as many days in the field as we do, like man, that feels great. You're like I can go home and I can eat breakfast instead of lunch. I can take a nap.
Oh yeah.
before like before your wife's gonna be up, like
Oh yeah.
you
Well,
know.
and on top of that, early teal's smack dab in the middle of football season, so that Saturday morning,
Yeah,
you go home, you go watch college football. There's still
fall
baseball.
asleep at halftime.
There's still baseball going on. So
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, we went home, we cleaned birds. Um, we got jalapenos and cream cheese and bacon and wrapped them up, grilled them, had them for dinner, and went and did it again the next day and shot a 3-man limit.
Yep. And that time the guy building the buildings or whatever he was doing, he got to join y'all, right?
Yeah, yeah, that's why we shot a 3-man limit that day. Is he got there about an hour before dinner and he had a brand new Super Black Eagle 3. That was actually the first hunt I'd taken my brand new Versamax Waterfowl Pro on.
Oh yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
That and I'll tell you what, we're gonna be doing a YouTube review of that gun here pretty soon. But I'll let y'all in on a little secret since y'all listen to the podcast. That gun is amazing.
Shit, it's a secret.
Yeah, it's a little secret. But yeah, I've got some stuff to really talk about it because I kind of used and abused that gun this year, and I'm super super thrilled with the way it performed.
Yeah. Yeah, man. I think we're gonna be doing a couple different reviews. So yeah, look forward to that. Well, does that I think that wraps up our early teal since I have no contributions. Um, Next, I guess it would be bow open.
Yep.
So we were at like the 28th of September this year. It was
Yeah.
that Saturday. Saturday is like the 28th, I
Yeah,
believe.
the Saturday before the 1st of October, we got 2 extra
Yep.
days of bow season this year, I
Y-
think.
And I think it's going to be the same this coming October as well. The first is falling on a Monday, I think. So maybe I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. But anyways, I think we're going to have a similar thing next year. And you know, my most memorable bow encounter was when I finally got my stand on the X. Finally got it where the deer were while I was learning this property throughout this entire season, you know. And before General Gun had opened up, I finally found my stand placement that was going to work for me. And getting on the X was a matter of moving 150 yards.
Well, you'd been able to pattern them.
Yeah, yeah, but just that small length of movement, I mean, completely changed the game for me.
Yeah, night and day.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And other than that, just the opportunity to be able to see so many deer on that property that I haven't hunted before. We hunted like a day or two out there last year,
Yeah, that was
but
yeah. I think we hunted twice out there last year together, and I'd hunted out there quite a bit that year, especially during bow season, because that was really the only place I had available to me. I went out there a couple times after work and a bunch of weekends actually. Um, so that's why I was able to get you close. When we went out there, I was like, you probably want to be somewhere in this area.
yeah.
And we went and found that initial spot that you set up off of that, major game trail highway, and then you were able to make your fine adjustments from there.
Yeah, and what was weird, that highway, man, the only thing I saw actually take that was a coyote. That's the only thing I saw on that trail. As many days as I sat in that stand, I mean, it was probably at least 10 days I sat in that stand. The only thing I actually saw take that trail, which was a major, major trail, game trail, and I mean, tracks all up and down it. But I think that's, you know, primarily, primarily a nighttime trail
Yeah, I think
because maybe it's so big and so exposed, they kind of stick to their, you know, close to bedding, close to food during the day, especially early season because this was quite, early in the
yeah.
season.
What we didn't hang that stand though till what the third weekend of bow season, I think.
Sorry about coughing, guys. I don't know what's going on. But yeah, I think so.
Yeah, and I mean it could have been with the fact that like Saturday opening day there were so many people on that property that it could have altered their patterns.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it very very well could have, and but yeah, that was definitely my most proud thing was being able to pattern, to actually do it, to move the stand, to be mobile, not afraid to make that move, not afraid that, oh man, if I move this, if I break it all down and move it, they're going to show up where I was before the next day. It was just a matter of time before they show up here, and I'm just going to wait them out. And it's like, you just have to do it sometimes. And, I saw quite a few bucks. I saw 3 mature bucks that I would have shot, and, did get an opportunity to put an arrow in one, but, I messed it up. And, hopefully that deer made it through and I can get another opportunity on him next year. I mean, I really, really hope so. That would mean so much to me if I can get another opportunity on that deer next year.
Yeah, I hope you manage to shoot a deer with a gnarly scar on his shoulder next year. That'd be really awesome. Because I
That would
mean,
be the trophy of a lifetime for me. I
yeah,
mean, if I get that lucky and get that opportunity, that's no matter what he looks like. I mean, he could have every tine broken off. It doesn't matter to me. Like if I shoot that same deer, that's a trophy of a lifetime.
yeah, definitely. And I'd have to say, that was really cool that you managed to get your stand hung. I hunted out of a climber out there this year. Where before I've always either hunted out of brush blinds out there or ground blinds or just kind of did my best to do spot and stalks out there. Um, but my favorite hunt, from out there this year would have been probably my. I have a favorite hunt and a favorite memory. My favorite hunt would be the time didn't even see any deer out there, but I had uh, a bunch of pigs come move in on me, and I was out there. I think it was one day after work. I had said, what, I'm just gonna go out there and go try this spot. I'd seen this spot. I liked this spot. Went out there and was like, I'm just gonna try it. Got up in that tree and was sitting there, and it was getting late and hadn't seen anything, and figured this spot was gonna be a bust, like every place else I'd tried out there that year. Just hadn't had any luck, and then I hear the pigs moving through the underbrush, slowly coming in, and I get you know 5 or 6 pigs at 30 yards, and I had my crossbow, which was a perfectly you know well there. I have no reason why I didn't bring home the bacon other than the fact that either adrenaline got the best of me, or the lack of shooting that crossbow from an actual elevated position and shooting down adjusts the range on that crossbow significantly. And I'm thinking that's actually what it is after what happened to me later on in the year, which actually is part of my favorite memory. But yeah, having all those pigs move in, and the pigs come to within 30 yards, within 20 yards, and actually after the fact, having pigs within 10 or 15 yards sitting there, milling around and not
Hmm.
knowing what really just happened, and finally busted me trying to reload that crossbow. Um, yeah, that was you know just going from a total utter defeat, nothing's gonna happen, to just jazz to the nines because here comes something for me to try and sling an arrow at.
Yeah, and here's dinner. I
Oh,
mean,
definitely.
it's like either go home and pick up Whataburger on the way home, or Whataburger if you're still out there, man. I'm still looking for maybe a free burger or a sponsorship, whatever you want to do. Just a shout out. But yeah, I mean, there was dinner right in front of you within arm's reach, and you know I've been there. I just said I was there. I mean, it sucks, but we live and learn, and I'm glad that both of those situations made it into our favorite memory of this year's season, even though they were a defeat. I think us saying that that's one of our best memories, is a lesson learned, and we can use that to better ourselves for next season.
Yeah, and definitely, and my favorite moment was the wallaby deer.
Oh yeah, yeah,
The deer,
yeah.
the deer
This
that was entirely
wallaby
too
deer.
too small to be a deer. This It was gray as gray could be, and it was hopping around. It looked like a big armadillo or something. I couldn't tell
He's
what it
he's
was.
out there shooting key deer in Texas, y'all. I swear. You tell him, man, this thing looked like a wallaby. I didn't know what it was. I was
I
like, oh
didn't know
my god,
what it was.
what are you shooting at, man?
I
Come
did
on.
not shoot at that. I shot at the big doe. Thank you very much. But
Okay.
when it first moved in, I thought it was a giant fuzzy armadillo, a wallaby. I mean, stranger things have gotten loose in Texas. Is all I'm
Can
gonna
we?
say.
Can somebody please, please, please find an opening on their vision insurance for this man so he can go get his eyes checked.
Look, I found
I
a
mean,
spot
this is
today.
becoming
Actually, I found a
this
spot
is
today where I can go.
okay.
I can get glasses and an eye exam for $65. So it is
Oh man,
happening.
that
So
sounds like somewhere where they offer you LASIK for $200 and go and cut your eyeball
no,
open.
I ain't doing no LASIK at no $200. I will find the money to pay for good LASIK at some point in time. But yeah, I
Okay.
think I'm gonna get me some glasses because
You
I
seeing
can't.
furry armadillos and wallaby deer, guys. I mean, this is far fetched. He was also the one early in bow season listening to UFO podcasts and then seeing lights up in the tree stand on the. I don't. Oh man, he was texting me. He was all freaked out that the UFOs were gonna come abduct him out of his climber.
Yeah, that was a odd morning. Is all I'm gonna say. Because I mean that was also the same morning we saw the drone or whatever it was walking in. Because
Okay, I see. I'll back you on that because there was a drone watching us, and I think old GW may have been back over there flying a drone somewhere, just checking us out,
I
which is
have no
that's
idea,
pretty
but
cool.
that was a there was a red and green light that was above us, not moving.
Yeah. Do-do-do-do-do-do.
Alrighty, so now I guess we're to the first split of duck season.
Yeah, well, let's sandwich some deer with some duck.
Um,
Uh,
what was your favorite of a general rifle season this year?
General Rifle. I thought we were doing duck.
Oh yeah, first split. Sorry, you said deer again. Um,
Sorry, I'm
all right,
confusing you now.
yeah, you're throwing me for a loop there. Okay, so my favorite part of the first split of duck season would have to be probably opening weekend again down there on the coast, where you were on call and you didn't get to go. Um, yeah, this year was just lousy because we didn't get to hardly duck hunt at all, which is
It seemed to be the theme all year that we kept not being able to duck hunt together, man,
yeah
and that's our thing.
yeah. But yeah, that opening weekend was a blast down there. Except for the fact that I do not like the fact I like the fact for the conservation reason, but I do not like the fact that they have that no model duck, no black duck, no Mexican duck rule that first week of season in big
Yeah,
duck when you hunt the
yeah.
coast because it was not fun to have those model ducks keep flying over me, quacking at me. And
Mm-hmm.
you're you're probably a little too young to remember NES Duck Hunt, but if you missed both the ducks and Duck Hunt, the dog would come up and laugh at you. And like I felt like at any point in time, like a dog should come up out of the grass and laugh at me because I couldn't shoot those ducks. Wasn't that I couldn't shoot those ducks, because I could have shot those ducks, but it was against the law to shoot those ducks. So those ducks had to get a pass. But yeah, but aside from that, yeah, we killed like a crazy mixed bag: teal, spoonies, redheads, a ruddy duck, ringnecks, scalp. I mean, just all kinds of ducks. And that was just it wasn't really a barrel burner. Um, that was also the same weekend we had the issues on public lands with the guy building the blind and being upset that we were sitting there in front of his blind with our boat blind up directly in front of his duck blind on private. But that's not a fight I typically want to get in. But um, when we've traveled as far as we have and done everything we've done and done our scouting and it wasn't there 2 weeks before,
Yeah,
well, what are you gonna do?
yeah, man. I'm trying to look up what episode that was so people can refer back to it, but I think it's 12. I think it's 12. If you're, it's around 12 if you want to go hear that story because that is, yep, yep, it is 12, 100%. So if you want to hear that story, go listen to episode 12 because that's a good one. And I think just about every one of our listeners that does any kind of waterfowl and hey, maybe even a public lands deer hunt. I mean, it happened to me this year, but it's something we can all relate to.
Yeah, definitely.
Yep.
But yeah,
Yeah.
I mean that was definitely a fun hunt though. We got to kill an
Absolutely.
awesome mixed bag, and um, it was awesome just to watch the birds work. Like we saw tons and tons and tons of birds out there. Pintails, gadwall, uh, just tons of birds. It was a lot of fun, and a lot of good camaraderie in the blind. between the shit
That
talking and the
yeah, man, that's the best.
yeah. That's why I duck hunt is because
Yeah,
the time spent in the blind is as much fun as it is shooting ducks.
yeah, if you can have that and like you said, like a crazy mixed bag of ducks, like though that makes a perfect day for me. Because I want to see as many of those ducks. Like I just get so infatuated when I kill a duck, especially, some plumed out drake that's just amazingly beautiful. I can't, I'm almost stopped watching the sky and I just want to check out that bird for 30 minutes,
Yeah, just sit there and look at all of its different feathers and the way they all change.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
just see the change, as you go down and just check them out and see
yeah,
what
it
they're all
was
about.
yeah it was crazy looking at the pictures of the gadwall that I killed. Because I killed gadwall
Hmm.
on I think every duck hunt this year, with the exception of our Christmas duck hunt.
Hmm.
Just the way that their plumage changed through the you know
Yeah, it's real interesting. Yeah, I got a couple of actually that video I posted up on the Facebook page of all the gadwall sitting at that pond. That's actually at my work, and I drive by it like all day long, over and over and over again. Those ducks won't leave, and they're just kind of acclimated to everything now, and so I just get to go over there and sit and just watch them and just watch them and watch them eat and watch them work, and that's given me a ton of ideas for next season on my jerk rig,
there you
like
go.
what I want to put on there.
Put like a
Just sitting there and watching them.
put like a spreader rig or something on it.
Yeah, some spreader and mixing a few butts and a few feeders and just a few regular regular sitting ducks and put them all in the jerk together and spread them out and maybe do some drops and some other things. And yeah, so it's given me a bunch of ideas just getting to watch real wild ducks, not park ducks, real wild ducks.
Yeah,
You know, um, but my best memory from the first split, and I believe it was the first split. And if I'm wrong, just let me slide on this one. My first pintail, got to do it with my dad, who's not a big hunter, and that was the only duck that really stood out to me this year because first pintail drake, that's awesome. Like beautiful, beautiful bird. Probably should have saved it and mounted it, but it was delicious.
yeah.
So,
I've got my pintail sitting in the freezer and I can't wait to eat it.
oh man, it's so good. And hey, I'm gonna be doing a Hank Shaw recipe for roasted wood duck with shallots and grapes in a cast iron, and I'm gonna post it up and try and recreate his masterpiece and see how it comes out. But I'm excited about it, and I'm gonna buy the stuff this weekend to do it.
Yeah, that looked really good when you sent me the pictures of it. So I'm excited to
Yeah,
see that
so
because I have wood ducks in the freezer too. So I'm
yeah, yeah, dude, shout out to Hank Shaw for that recipe. I mean, it looks amazing, and everything he puts up has got to be good. So.
yeah,
Um, yeah. So that was my favorite memory. Like I said, with my dad, he wasn't raised to hunt. We kind of started hunting together. When I was, I think, 13 or so. He had a friend that got into it, and we just kind of started doing that together a little bit. And it was cool to just go and do. We've done a bunch of firsts together. We both shot our first deer on the same day. That was really cool. And we got to, I was with him when he shot his first duck, and he was with me when I shot my first duck. And now I get to share another first with them and get, my first pintail. So I just like to keep setting that bar higher and higher and higher. And, um,
yeah. We got to
it,
drag your
it's,
dad down to the coast for one hunt next year,
yeah,
cause
yeah, I think so.
he would have an absolute blast. Like
Yeah. And, he's hunted with those guys that, at least the guy that we mainly go with, down there, he's hunted with him before and they get along great. And, we're all the same. We always just like to cut up in the duck blind and,
yeah,
you know,
he's
uh,
definitely dove hunted with us a couple of times. I know.
yeah, yeah. And, I think we did one duck hunt last year or something like that. But yeah, so man, that pintail is a great memory. But, I think that brings us around to, general gun for whitetail. You got one for us?
General rifle. Let's see. Probably the highlight of my general rifle probably won't even be actually have anything to do with hunting, which is kind of weird. Um, I didn't rifle hunt very much this year.
We did one hunt this year.
Yeah. Well, I
We
mean,
both did one gun hunt this year.
I also hunted up in Arkansas and harvested the doe.
Oh yeah, you did. You did.
Um,
Yeah,
but
I guess I only did one gun hunt this year.
yeah, and I mean, I don't know why I didn't gun hunt this. Like, I just didn't have. Um,
We we were just
I
I
went out.
guess more and more in archery, or
Yeah.
you know,
Because
we're just realizing this, I
yeah,
guess.
because I mean, I went out to the national forest and bow hunted during bow season,
Yeah,
and that's something I've never done before. I've always bow hunted, um,
you know, locally, yeah.
yeah, a little closer to home, and yeah, I have no idea why this year. And I knew I was going up to Arkansas, for Thanksgiving this year. I have no
Yeah.
idea why I didn't manage to rifle hunt that much. But yeah, my favorite memory of it would actually probably be the fact that I got there a day before you and your dad did, and I got out there and I set up the camp. And if you go back and look, I know it's on our Facebook page. I'm fairly certain, and I think it's on the Instagram too. I did a time lapse of me setting up camp with my headlamp because I got
Hmm.
there. No, that was when I went during bow season.
Oh,
Um,
that was
yeah,
you did the duck chili recipe the
yeah,
day before we showed
yeah.
up out
Well,
there.
that's what I was gonna say was me sitting out there after going and sweating to death, hanging your dad's stand out there in that big old pine
Oh
tree,
yeah, 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 yeah.
and getting it all out there and getting your dad set up and finding that spot for him, uh, which I which I think your dad I probably should be able to kill a deer out of that stand next year if we hang in that same spot. I feel like
Yeah, yeah, I think so. Sat over there. On one of the previous podcasts, I'd mentioned the guys that came in on my muzzleloader hunt, and you know, I kind of got kicked out of my spot, and I went and sat over there, and you know, man, it looks great. You know, I hadn't hunted out of that spot. We just went and picked him up at dark both times. But yeah, it looks great. I mean, I
yeah,
think you should
it's
be able to get one out of
yeah,
there.
it's real close to a spot that I used to hunt, and I'd always see the deer crossing behind me. That's why I put him there. I'm like, well, this is
Got to
on
be
the
going that
well,
direction.
no,
Yeah.
this is the that's the direction they were always coming from. It was the only place they could be
Okay.
coming from, and I saw lots of sign, back there. So, and your dad did see deer there, which is, you know, and close deer, which is better than I did. Um, yeah, that's how come I don't have a general season because I didn't see hardly any deer at all. I saw stuff moving around behind me and stuff. I saw a big old coyote or a wolf or whatever the heck it was, big old black looking coyote running
Big
across
old
the.
East Texas Black Panther.
No, it was not a panther. It was
Okay.
definitely a
You say so, bud.
it was definitely a coyote or a wolf.
To
Uh,
each their own. I'm gonna say Black Panther,
all
100%.
right, you do that. But yeah, but my favorite part was actually getting there, setting up camp, and getting camp set up the way that we had it set up, and cooking that duck chili, and getting to share that meal with you and your dad that I took literally from a bag of frozen duck breast and cooked it 100% from a bag of frozen duck breast to a meal there in the field and
At
get
deer camp, I mean
yeah.
that's just iconic, you know, and it's bringing something from this season's, you know, another season's hunt to the deer camp. Like that's the ultimate goal. And you know, we eat deer so much that there's not going to be any deer for deer camp next year, most likely.
No.
And that's just the kind of way it does because we are some deer eating machines.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
last
both of
long.
our spouses and our, you know, and your kids and everything else. I mean, deer meat doesn't last long around these parts.
No, I have to ration it out. Like the
Yeah,
first
yeah.
couple weeks, it's like, all right, cool, let's eat it, and then it's like, nah, I think we're having chicken tonight.
Yeah, and man, I find myself saving backstrap to the point of, you know, near
I have
near
still yet,
freezer burnt, like
I have still yet to
like
eat any of the backstrap from my deer this year.
like it'll start to freezer burn, and I'm like, oh man, it's still as thick enough piece. I can trim real
Real
thin
thin,
around
huh?
all that. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I can just, man, it's okay. It's just aging. It's just aging. It's just aging.
Freezer
And
aging.
it's like, oh dude, I gotta eat it. This thing's gonna go bad, and then I'm gonna feel real bad.
Well, the one thing that I'm gonna do with a couple packages of backstrap I have is do what we did with that deer that your buddy gave us from Kansas. Is I'm gonna
Hmm.
take it and do that mixture of soy sauce and dried peppers and stuff.
Yes,
Cause
sir.
cause I finally ate that about 2 3 weeks ago, and that stuff was off the chain good.
Did we talk about that in the last podcast? I don't
It wouldn't
remember.
have been the last podcast. It would have been a couple podcasts ago if we talked about it. But yeah, that doing it with soy sauce and the dried ghost peppers and habaneros and jalapenos and the other peppers, and
Yep.
just vacuum sealing it in there. Man, it was perfect. Like I didn't
For
even.
about a year.
Yeah, it was in there for not quite a year because I think we did all that deer in like March.
Well, that deer was also
Well, it was a year
old
old.
already.
Yeah, it
Yeah,
was.
yeah. We did talk about this on a podcast in the past. I do remember that.
Yeah, but it
Um,
was. Yeah, that deer was the way that it was seasoned. It was just dead on perfect. Like you couldn't have
oh
asked
man, I
for.
loved it. Yeah, yeah. It's I think it's honey, soy sauce, a little Worcestershire, and a bunch of dried peppers from that was also donated from another guy's garden that he had put in the dehydrator,
Yeah, you
and
traded in eggs
gave
for
me
it.
a bag. Yeah, I traded farm fresh eggs for some of that, and he also gave me some greens, some lettuce, some stuff like that. So yeah, man, eggs are a good commodity. Um, so yeah, I think my favorite memory from my one gun hunt this year, apparently, I mean, I think we're just realizing this is that
Yeah,
like wow, like we really didn't get out and gun hunt. Just kind of did it without thinking about it. We didn't make like a pact like, hey, we're gonna archery hunt this year and we're gonna do, it's kind of fell that way.
yeah. I mean, general season we bow hunted quite a bit. I know for a fact we did.
Oh yeah, no, that was, because yeah, because exactly. I mean, it's just surprising, y'all. We're just kind of in shock. We're looking at each other like, wow. But yeah, I mean, I think my favorite memory is just watching, like, I think it was like 11 or 12 does just under me and getting to work them with the different calls and just like mess with them a little bit, you know? And I was going to be out there for such a short time. And I was like, well, let me try this buck grunt. Well, let me try this doe bleed, just see what they do up close, not to bring anything, like just to see their reaction. And it was just cool to watch those does, that one matriarch doe, respond to that doe bleat and,
Yeah,
just kind of check it all out and just kind of get worried for a second and kind of calm herself back down. Um, yeah, didn't harvest anything that trip, so didn't even see a buck, man. Oh, I do have a question about this that I wanted to put out into the universe. I wanted to bring up why in the world have I sat in that spot so many times, seen so many does, never seen a glimpse, never seen, I mean, in person, not seen a buck, period, 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 period.
I don't know. I think this is probably something we should pose towards East Texas Hunting Club. Um,
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and I want to put this out, but I wanted to bring it here first and give our listeners first dibs.
yeah,
Um, I'm down to put it on there tonight, but I wanted to say it out loud here first because I want to know, like, in the middle of the rut, why in the world I have, no fawns in this. It's not like,
yeah. The fawns have
there's
already
not
been
a
kicked
bunch of
off.
fawns. Yeah, yeah, fawns have already been kicked off. I mean, it's just breedable does, whether they're in heat or not, it's a different story. But why am I not seeing any bucks? And I've seen them repeatedly there,
Yeah,
repeatedly every single time I go to this spot to hunt. Maybe in a 3-day span, I'll see them once or twice, 1 or 2 days. But I just have that question. So if anybody has any insight for me, it's on the edge of a feeding area, edge of some open, shoot Cast Blast Squirrel Chill on Facebook a PM if you want to do that, or just post it up on our visitors post. We have that open for y'all. So
yeah. For sure. I don't know. I mean, I've hunted out there, more years than you have, and I've only seen a couple of bucks, ever out there. I've seen a lot of spikes out there, generally on the other side of the road. But you got me. Like, you're in the spot where I would think you'd have a chance at killing, a real nice buck. But hence the reason why, we want to go out there and go do some squirrel scouting and stuff because, I think that road just has too much travel on it these days to actually.
yeah, like we've talked about in the past, and doing all that just the pressure on it, and but I just think with a live lure like that, so many different times hunting,
Oh yeah, you should
It's
definitely
it's
have seen
it's
something.
just odd. It's
You
just
should have.
odd. That's not what I'm used to. It's something I've never ran into. It's like if you hang around the does for long enough,
You'll see a buck.
Mr. Horny over here, hey, is gonna come out and check him out.
Yeah. You've got me on that one. I can't figure it out. The only thing I can figure with this year is the reason why it didn't pan out is because the quote unquote lockdown that happened, right after. Because remember, if we stop and think about, all the hunts we were, all the guys harvesting deer in East Texas Hunting Club and stuff, and the different Facebook groups and stuff we follow, that was the weekend that we didn't see a lot of deer harvested. The weekend before that, which was opening weekend, or maybe 2 weeks before that, which was opening weekend, saw lots and lots of bucks harvested. That weekend we
Yeah.
didn't see a lot. The following weekend we saw lots of bucks harvested. So everything may have been, just keeping their does pinned down that weekend and not out there.
Yeah, I mean, like you said, on East Texas Hunt Club, it was almost dead silent that weekend. Maybe we should narrow it down and kind of go back on their Facebook and just see. But yeah, man, it was odd. Nevertheless, it is what it is. If you got info for me, send it over. You can hit us up on Gmail or the Facebook page. It's castblastgrillchill@gmail.com. It's there everywhere. So just if you got any info for me, let me know because I'm trying again next year. And this may be another situation where I need to do what I did at the other property, and maybe
Shoot
I'm
the gun.
100 yards off the X.
Yeah,
You
maybe
know.
so. Maybe they're, you know, since you are potentially, well, not potentially, you are definitely downwind of those does because you're not getting blown out of the tree. Perhaps that buck is circling downwind of you.
Yeah, they like the J hook, man. I mean, it could be a thousand different things, and there's some heavy, heavy cover around where I'm hunting, and um, they could definitely be ghosting around me. So, but yeah, that I think that brings us into the second split of Big Duck.
Well, what do you have for second split of Big Duck? Because I've got a little story that I want to tell.
All right, best for last. Well, man, my favorite, absolute favorite, was one of our last hunts. We didn't get to hunt a lot until, and together for ducks until the end of season, almost the end of the second split. Um, and it has to be actually going up and committing into my tree stand and getting up in a stupid deer stand to shoot my wood ducks just because I said I was going to do it. And it worked. I did what I said I was going to do. I didn't shoot my three. I shot two, but then I started to get worried about recovery, so I got down.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, man, it worked out. And maybe the lesson here is try things that are different sometimes, and maybe you'll have some success. I mean, go sit in your box stand and shoot squirrels. I don't know what the flip side of this coin is, but
Yeah, I
but
mean,
I mean,
yeah, try something
then I
different. If what you're doing is not
yeah.
working, try something different. I think that's probably a good adage for life in general.
Yeah, I mean, I even tethered myself off to my safety rope that's still up there and everything, and yeah, I mean, it was fun, man. It was different. It was fun, but the one thing I will say, if you're thinking about trying this, people, is you're about 20 feet higher in that tree, and that puts a lot higher birds up in range. And I had a bird fall 300 yards from my stand. So unless you got good vision on where that duck's going to land, generally,
Or a dog.
or a good dog that can track on land for ducks, then yeah, just be warned. Just be warned if you're thinking about trying this at home.
Yeah, that was definitely a fun hunt.
And
That
we
was
ended
the
up we ended up killing quite a few birds that day
Yeah,
after I
we
got down.
killed 5 or 6 ducks that day. 5 ducks, I think. Maybe six.
No, we killed our wood duck limit, right? And then plus two gatewell.
Yeah,
So 6, 7, 8.
yeah, 8. Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, that was
something like that.
I don't know. It's all in my book. Um,
Yeah.
I've put the I've cried my tears and put my duck digest away for a little bit. I don't want to look at it right now because it just makes me sad because I can't hunt no ducks.
Feel like we should play you some Taylor Swift,
Yeah,
like teardrops on my duck notebook.
yeah, a little bit. Yeah, my favorite hunt probably would have been the day after that hunt. I kind of did for 2 weekends in a row. Did for the last 2 weekends, I did the same thing. I hunted with you Saturday and ran to the coast on Sundays. Um,
Mm-hmm.
went and left there. Came by the house, took a nap, and bailed out about 3 o'clock in the afternoon. And got to have me some delicious sandhill crane for dinner that my buddy
Oh
managed to kill.
yeah,
Um,
dude, you're a jerk.
yeah, they call those things ribeye of the sky, and they're no lie. Those things are delicious. I'm quite certain. I don't know why whooping cranes are endangered, but if they taste anything like sandhill crane, I can explain. That explains it in one fell swoop.
Shh, don't
They
let it out,
are
man. Come on.
delicious. I would. I'm paying money next year to probably go on like 2 or 3 sandhill crane hunts because I want them. And going down to the to Zone C or whatever it is down there where my buddy is, where he gets a few that come into his cattle pasture and he pass shoots them under a tree. They fly the same route every day. He just watches them out of off of his
Hey, I'm not
off of his
judging. I'm
porch,
just
and
laughing.
as soon as soon as he
I'm just.
figures it out, he'll like they come by the same time almost every day. He's like, all right, cool, I'll be out there tomorrow, and then goes out there, and sure enough, here they come flying by, and he'll take him one,
Yeah.
and then a couple days later they'll start doing it again. He'll go out and get him another one.
Yeah.
So yeah, it really panned out for him. But yeah, I want to go up to the Panhandle and go get my 3 a day.
So does he send his boykin to go retrieve the
Yes,
big old, oh my, that, what is that, like 3 times the size of that boykin,
yes,
like body mass
oh
wise?
yes, that bird is easily 3 of that dog.
Jeez, man. Yeah,
Weight
that's a cool
wise,
sight.
weight wise, it's probably pretty even. The dog
Yeah,
and the
but they're
bird,
just like
huge.
massive.
Oh
They're a
yeah,
crane. I
yeah.
mean, it's
That
the wingspan, especially a dead one. They're
yeah yeah
out.
yeah
Their
yeah.
wings are
It,
out.
its
So I mean,
wingspan
that's
is
that's a
probably about as big as my wingspan. They probably got a
that's
five
a
foot
lot of
wingspan.
yeah, that's a lot of resistance to drag, man.
Oh yeah. He said the first one he shot, that dog ran over there to go get it and turned around and looked at him like, "What am I supposed to do with this? And what the heck
Mm-hmm.
are you shooting now?"
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
See, my dog's never retrieved a goose before, so he might even look at a Canada funny if I shot a Canada. I'd be like, "What in the heck is this, man? I
yeah,
don't know."
yeah. Well, when the dog was just a pup, he managed to kill a couple snows and some speckle bellies that
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
down the coast, and the dog retrieved those. So it's
Mm-hmm.
probably about the same, because that dog
Yeah.
was less than a year old when he was fetching those up. So it's
Mm-hmm.
probably about the same difference now. But yeah, that was definitely a very very good dinner, and he actually cooked them in a way I've never cooked them, duck or anything before. But it's definitely something I'm going to do from now on. Something you may want to try sometime is you take like half a jar of soy sauce
Mm-hmm.
and you pour it into a pan and you let it reduce down and you cut it into strips, you know, inch wide by the length of the breast, and you throw a bunch of garlic, a little ginger, and some onions in there, and you basically stir fry it in all
Okay.
that soy sauce. And
Cool.
then you take a bunch of white rice and you
Mm-hmm.
serve it
Make a
over,
better bite.
and then you serve it with the. You don't pour the soy sauce over it because it's super salty. But
Yeah,
you
yeah,
but
yeah,
you
yeah.
like take it and you kind of like dip it a couple times to get it real
Uh-huh.
wet and put it on there.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah. One problem I've seen, like when cooking with soy sauce, like, just if you're gonna use a lot, just low heat, simmer it.
Hmm.
Don't put it on high heat
No, no,
because
this was
it'll go to a tar a lot of times though.
yeah. Well, this was a lot of. So when I say it was like the big bottle, half of a big bottle of soy
Oh,
sauce.
okay.
Like it's
Okay. Yeah.
like
No, I'm
an
just
inch
talking
deep.
about general, just a problem that
Yeah,
I've found, like with cooking with anything soy sauce. If you do high heat, it gets a tar, kind of like once it reduces,
yeah,
it almost turns like a tar, and it chars real bad, and it doesn't taste very good. Um, the inside of whatever you marinated tastes delicious, but yeah, you just get that, and it's hard to clean the pan and the
yeah.
cast iron and whatever.
Yeah,
But
that's the way. Yeah, that's how come he did so much because he's like, yeah, you can't do it with a little. He's either you got to do it with a little bit with oil,
you gotta
or
commit.
or you got to do a lot. But yeah,
Yeah.
that was a delicious way to cook it. Um, but yeah, so that next morning we woke up and he lives an hour from the coast, give or take, and it was
Hmm.
already super foggy. So we were like, this might not be so good. And we go through a couple little towns, and it's not so bad. We're thinking, all right, and then we turn down the road to go to it, and all of a sudden it's just socked in solid fog.
Man, that's got to be like the theme of everywhere we like to go hunt this year because every single time I go out to hunt deer at this local place, it's like it's fine until you get down to that bottom and then it's just like, man, you cut it with a knife. I remember an episode of like Scooby Doo where he cuts a
Yeah,
donut out of the fog and eats the fog donut, and that stuck with me since I was like 4.
yeah. I mean, this stuff was nasty. Like it was dangerous for us to
Yeah,
ro- to
yeah,
run
yeah.
to run across this bay. I mean, like we have all the nav lights on the boat and everything, and I have a 850 lumen headlamp shining off the boat this way, and a
It almost
and,
does you
and a
better to run dark though,
and
you
a
know?
1200 lumen. Well, no, we're shining it off the sides because if we
Oh,
shine
it's
the
just
lights forward,
for coming on
yeah,
boats
for
and
anybody
stuff
seeing us
too.
because we were worried about
Yeah.
the nav lights not projecting far enough. We're like, at least they'll be able to see this because at least it'll be like a glowing orb.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But we ran across the bay, never heard another boat all morning. Got over to the little shell bank where we were throwing our diver decoys. We set out our diver spread and you know settled in. Decided to build a little blind. There on the shell bank rather than hunt out of the boat blind. Um, and went there and set up and didn't really have a lot of birds work. We managed to kill. I killed a redhead and a pintail and a greater scalp, and that was it for ducks. The pintails we had worked absolutely perfectly. It was the most beautiful thing I've ever seen um, in my life. Those we had a group of two start working in, and they pulled in a group of six behind them. They
That's
came
awesome.
they came down, buzzed the decoys, went up, circled back around, cupped the wings, feet down, and came down. And we pulled up. I picked my Drake. I pulled the trigger, dropped mine, and watched my buddy go, nope, yeah, and then proceed to miss three times at his Drake because he pulled up on a Susie.
Uh,
And he was like, "No, don't shoot the hen! Don't shoot the hen!" And
oh man,
yeah, that was about an hour after that we decided to call it, and we went back across the bay to where there's a big bunch of marsh that drains out as the tide was going out. And we proceeded to go over there and go fish redfish. I caught one real nice keeper red and lost a monster redfish too. And we fished for a couple hours and probably not even, yeah, probably 2 hours or so. Caught that one redfish and put the boat back on the trailer and headed on back. And I came back home and cleaned ducks and cleaned fish. And
yeah, man,
but yeah,
the ultimate casting
yeah, it
blast,
was a true casting blast, and it was
and that man, that's the big benefit of being so relative of and living in Texas that we can have one license and hunt all these different terrains.
super
We can
combo.
go hunt. We can go hunt desert. We can go hunt panhandle in the snow for snow geese and Canadas and sandhill and whatever else. We can go
Mule
down to South
deer.
Texas and hunt, and we can go hunt out west for muleys and up north for muleys, and go hunt South Texas for white-tailed giants, and
Go out
go out.
west, and if you're lucky enough, pull a desert bighorn tag,
Yeah,
or
that or
and there's
go down.
and
You
there's
could do your
even
turkey grand slam here too.
yeah, yeah. I don't know if it was you telling me or somebody else was telling me, but there's actual what are they? Ghouls turkey here in
Yeah,
Texas.
Gould's turkey down South Texas. Yeah, they got the Gould's turkey down there. And
You got Rios.
of course the Rios, and I think and then you got to go east for east,
Yeah, you gotta go to East Texas to get your eastern turkey, and then that leaves
east to
only one
east.
that leaves only one turkey left that you'd have to go to Florida to get, and that's your Osceola turkey.
Yeah, and I guess that's a super grand slam.
No, that's your slam. Your turkey slam is your four turkeys, and then
No, it's just
no,
yeah.
but there's that
There's an actual thing. Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
the super slam is like that crazy Yucatan turkey that like
Hmm.
is all looks like a
I don't even
parrot or
remember
whatever.
where that is. Isn't that
It's
like
in
something
Mexico.
in,
It's like
I
the
was gonna say like Southern California or like
no,
Mexico or something.
it's only in like the jungles of Mexico.
Oh, that's crazy.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah, yeah, but yeah, we have. I mean, it's so cool to be able to go down to the coast, hunt ducks, catch redfish, and whatever else you're gonna catch down at the coast, and then head back in not any time at all and go deer hunt the next day if you want to, go
Yeah,
turkey hunt the next day if you want to. I mean, go small game hunt the next day if you want to, and we're super liberal on a ton of our seasons, and I'm blessed to be where I am.
yeah, definitely. Super blessed to be hunting here in Texas because out there where you are, you don't even have a squirrel season. You can go hunt squirrels,
Yeah,
no
year
limit,
round.
year round.
Year round, no bag limit, man, and that's awesome. I'm gonna be doing a ton of that. We're actually going out tomorrow and taking your son out and
Son and
gonna
daughter,
do
and we're
some
gonna go do
his
some
son and
squirrel
daughter and
hunting.
go do some squirrel hunting and let him break in his new 20 gauge.
Yep.
I'm sure he's excited.
Oh yeah, he's itching,
Yeah,
itching
man,
to
it's
get
gonna
it
be it's
done.
gonna be cool. We're gonna take some good pictures and stuff, but I think that brings us all the way around to muzzleloader.
Yep. Which I don't have a story of because I don't own a muzzle loader yet.
Yet to
Yet.
being the key word.
Next year I will have a muzzle loader.
I'm fortunate enough to have a beautiful girlfriend who buys me guns. So for Christmas, I got a CVA Wolf. I didn't say what I wanted. She went and picked it out herself, and she did a great job. I went and put a Nikon. I think it's like the RX inline or something X inline. Sorry, Nikon, I'm messing this up. But yeah, it's a muzzleloader scope. And then went out to East Texas, man. Went and sighted it in. Went out to East Texas, and got up in the stand. Just a horrible first day. Last, I think, was this 2 podcasts ago. Man, go back and listen to it, and it was a terrible 24 hours in the woods. Terrible. Got the truck stuck. Got
Overheated the truck.
got overheated the truck. Getting the truck out of there.
Guys
Got
building fires in the
got
woods.
a guy coming up and with a dog and another guy and cracking up and building fires right on top of me. Yeah, and then I just the wind swirling like crazy and weird temperature change and getting the tent flooded out and having to sleep in the truck and not getting any sleep, and it was just, man, it was a bad 24 hours. But you know when that wind finally laid down that second day, and those does stepped out, and I was able to put one in the freezer. And I was super grateful for that. And with messing up this buck that I missed this year, um, just being able to get something of some substance in the freezer was super important to me. And I think that's one reason that I didn't waterfowl hunt a lot this year, was because I worked towards it. It's a goal for me to kind of to set myself up in the freezer department, and then I can go have a blast waterfowl hunting, and say, okay, my work's done. I love whitetail hunting, but it's work. It's a lot of work. And so is waterfowl, but man, it's not sitting
One
in a
is
tree stand for hours and hours and hours and hours and hours. It's getting to crack up with your buddies. It's getting to, go out and ride in a boat. It's,
one's
shoot,
the best way.
working the calls, watching birds work all day. I mean, it's fun.
One is a solitary experience and one is a group experience.
Couldn't have said it any better.
Yeah,
Exactly.
cause like there was a couple times like I could have gone solo duck hunting this year where like I had the truck loaded, I had the blind bag in the truck, I had the decoys in the truck, and that alarm would go off at 4 o'clock in the morning, 3 o'clock in the morning, 2:30 in the morning, whatever time it was set to go off depending on where I was going, and I would look at it and go, nah, it's just me today. I'll just sleep in.
Yeah. And
And
I love doing that for whitetail. I love the solitude.
oh yeah, for
You know,
deer hunting, I'll wake up and go solo every time. It doesn't
yeah.
bother me in the slightest. But for some reason, duck hunting solo just doesn't do it for me. Like I'll do it. I have no like I did it 5 or 6 times, but there was
Yeah.
three or four
And
other
I
times where I was
yeah,
just
and I
like,
did it.
I just
Yeah, and
don't need to do it by myself.
I did it too, but I always seem to be, texting you or texting another buddy that duck hunts and being like, hey man, this is what's going on. It sucks today, or man, I got two in the boat, whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, but man, yeah, I was super appreciative of that doe. It was a big doe for what I've harvested out there before, and it was great. Got one in the freezer, solo hunt. Um, got it back, got to come home a little bit early. Girlfriend was glad of that. She was excited that, the gun she had picked out for me and bought me for Christmas.
Got it
And
done.
the first time I went out, I got it done with it. And, I was super excited about that too. I got this new toy and broke it in on the first hunt. And, that was awesome. So, got to go through the whole muzzleloader experience of, finding the black powder stuff here in Texas and, on and on and on. And it was exhausting for a little bit, but once I got it done, it was good, man. It was good.
Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely, proud of you for managing to get it done. Harvesting a deer off public land, I feel like anything that comes off public land, is a trophy. Be it, a, 150 inch, 4.5 inch old whitetail buck, or,
Or a wallaby.
or, or a,
Or a 2 foot tall wallaby, hairy armadillo looking panda bear UFO.
okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, definitely like getting that dough, like that's something that you honestly have on me. I've never managed to harvest a deer off of Texas public land. I shot, wounded, and killed uh, 8 point buck 6 7 years ago. But it ran and I could never find it, despite 3 days of searching. And I know I put a good shot on it. I mean, there were rib bones in it and good foamy blood, but for whatever
And I've
reason,
I've heard a ton of people say, sometimes they just don't bleed out. It could be a great shot. Sometimes they drop over dead right there. And sometimes, they walk off and bleed internally for a while. And, they could be right there. I just heard a story the other day, of Donnie Vincent, and he was telling a story about his elk hunt. And, they're trying to trail this elk that he had shot at like, I think it was like 17 yards or something like that. And, they walked up, found the arrow, then found like a quarter size piece of blood, and they're like, "Oh man, at least you hit it now. There's no question that you hit it." And then the cameraman goes, "Donnie," and it's 10 yards away from him and wide open, not in any brush or anything, and they just didn't see it, and
yeah,
so I mean, you never know with it, man.
yeah. I mean,
And
yeah, I mean, that deer could have been right there. That deer when it ran straight into the thickest stuff that was around, and there was no way. I mean, I got on my hands and knees and crawled, and I followed blood. And
yeah,
I always keep a roll of flagging tape in my bag, and I was leaving pieces of flagging tape where I saw blood, and it went 25 yards, and then the blood vanished.
the master of the camouflage, man. They definitely are. I mean, they have to. So, um, yeah. So that is our 2017-2018 hunting season wrap up. I hope y'all liked it. I think we're gonna do this at the end of all of our seasons, and we're not done hunting by any means. We're not done fishing. We're just getting started for small game, for hogs, going hard on those, and a lot of fishing to come up. So stay tuned for all that. Shout out to East Texas Hunt Club. Go check them out on Facebook. Check out our Facebook page, Cast Blast Grill Chill, on all social media platforms, and go give us your review, subscribe to the podcast, and tell a friend.
Yeah, definitely. And also stay tuned because, even though hunting season's over, we're about to start rolling into fishing. And like Trevor said, small game, tomorrow's squirrel. We probably got one or two other squirrel hunts underneath us. We're both looking at possibly, maybe doing a turkey hunt this year,
Hmm.
if we can figure out a way to put that together. But yeah, we got definitely our meat haul catfish jug trip coming up. And, we'll definitely be getting on the white bass and the crappie here soon. So
Yes,
yeah,
sir.
so stay tuned, guys, and like I always say, get out there and enjoy the, what you can outside.